One thing that deeply bothers me is being incorrect. And I don't mean incorrect in like a factual way, because I'm always willing to learn new information, read. I'm curious about that stuff. I mean in a more moral sense. One thing that I find that I see oftentimes is that we have such a political divide. And the reason is because it at least feels as if though each side is existential in a way. And what I mean by existential is that, for example, if you believe that the conservative MAGA Republican Party is correct, then immigrants are eating cats and dogs. You know what I mean? Genuinely. But maybe not genuinely, but some people might say, oh, he was just joking. But in a more real sense, to say, okay, immigrants are taking jobs, like our children are in trouble because they're being fed transgender ideology and whatnot. And on the left, you see, okay, if the left is correct, right, like ideologically speaking, then what Donald Trump is doing in the Republican Party is a fascist, authoritarian overthrow, Nazi-esque, like dystopian future world. And I think the problem with this is that we have so much information at our disposal, right? It's like on each side you could find opinions, and you could find facts, even some facts, to verify each some semblance of truth to whatever is going on in the world. And so how do you go about managing what is correct and what is incorrect, you know? And I find that, at least from my perspective, I can always be wrong, you know? From my perspective, I see it as like, what would prompt someone who does genuinely care about people to say or do actions that Donald Trump does, or the Republican Party at large? You know, I could be fed wrong information, but when I look at policy and stuff, when I look at being, military troops being deployed in left-leaning cities or states, and my understanding of like the democratic establishment, like our rules and laws, that goes against everything that we previously have known. And so I just sit here and I wonder, and okay, all right, how many immigrants are crossing the border? It's a question, right? Donald Trump will say 10 million, 25 million, I don't know, 35 million, maybe even 100 million. I don't know what that number is. Regardless, the way that immigrants are talked about, I have immigrant friends, who are like really just the best people. Genuinely, some of the best people that I've met in my life. Some people who are authentic, people who would give the back off your shirt, people who go to church, you know what I mean? People who would be there for you regardless, and who work hard and who want to contribute positively to the world. And so when I see such broad generalizations, I find it hard to believe, right? And this goes more to like epistemology of how do you know the knowledge that you know, and what's that process look like? And for me, what that process really looks like is just, even on the Republican Party side, I don't hate those people. I don't hate anybody. I don't see those people as evil. I almost don't even see Donald Trump as evil. I see people as context, environment, genetic, culture, all that stuff. When you take all that stuff into consideration, and I can break that down, but this is the whole. Honestly, this might just be a whole 10-minute yap sesh. Fuck it. I'm just gonna go balls to the wall on this, right? It's like when you step out of your perspective and you realize that people live different lives, and the way that they have been taught or have learned to learn information, to learn varies so widely, and we're hit with so much information that it's not even necessarily like you're not morally responsible for these opinions at the end of the day, because like your environment is different, your life is different, and I think that generally the way that I go about it is by kind of just using my intuition, intuiting, intuiting it. There we go, right? And like what I mean by that is that I have a better example, a more personal example. The way that I interact with homeless people when I walk down the street, for example, right? It's like I automatically give like such a quick, rash, and harsh response, and it's for no good reason aside from personal experience and because I've ran into homeless people many times, and then you run into these conversations or that you don't really want to have, right? You don't want to have this conversation. Trying to get to work, trying to get to the gym, wherever you're trying to go. It's just like, damn, why the fuck am I having this conversation? Sometimes they're wonky, people have psychosis and whatnot. And so another thing is too, oftentimes homeless people or unhoused people, whatever you want to call them, have substance use disorder. That's another personal aspect of my life where I've had people in my life suffer the struggle of substance use disorder. And tying these two things together, right? It's like, because I've had a more personal connection with this person who was a family member, who's more intimately connected to me from a familial standpoint, I treat them better. And yet, the person on the street who maybe does not have the same fortunes that even my family member had, even though they passed away and whatnot, it's like I come to realize I just kind of got to follow like what virtue I have, what sense that is, what sense it is to treat people with substance use disorder like people, right? And like that sounds weird in a way, but truly, like if you break down how when you quickly respond to something or quickly act without really thinking or respond harshly to people's lives and the decisions that they make, you realize that you've lost power over yourself in a way. Because when people react, or when people act against you, rather, and you react just as quickly without thinking, and it's not from a whatever is internal up here, it's not whatever that is, no, it's just based off fight or flight, it's based off react, right? You realize like people are taking power over you because they're getting you out of how you would normally act. Whatever that authentic being is, whatever that intuition, that virtue, whatever the case you want to call it is you step outside of that. And to kind of connect the substance use disorder, I'm in an internship where I broadly work with people who have substance use disorder, who are unhoused, who just quite frankly don't have money and are struggling. And as I talk to these people, each people has their own experience and what led them to that, and they're people at the end of the day, and they also even have valuable insight. I mean, we were in one of these conversations, we were talking about spirituality, and one of them had said like, oh man, they had said like spirituality is being connected to something greater than yourself, but it's an internal feeling. And I was like, wow, like I would never really expect something, and that's my own prejudice and bias coming out, right? And it's like, at the end of the day, what I'm saying is, whenever we're prompted to act in such a rash and even harsh way, it's because it's easy to dehumanize people. It's easy to say, okay, like this person is not the same as me. This person doesn't have the same beliefs. This person is an existential threat to whatever my life is, and so I react with malice. I react with anger. I react with harshness. I don't know. I might just be yapping, but it's been due for a yap sesh. My point generally is just that I just don't find it satisfying the way that people engage in the world, even online, and I think a lot of it has to do with that quick, fast-paced environment that we're in, where we need to take a step back and actually just feel sometimes. Feel fear, feel anger, but not to act on it. Feel that intuition, whatever it is that makes you do good things. Really feel that out, because oftentimes it gets lost with the whole process of social media. I mean, we're literally hit with a gazillion messages daily, and I'm doing it right now, but I'm about to run out of time. That was a 10-minute fucking video. Insane.